What's up, Canucks fans? Welcome to the Line Change Podcast, a proud presentation of DraftKings Sportsbook, as well as a proud member of the Hockey Podcast Network. Be sure to check out the network for your favorite podcast covering your favorite team at thehockeypodcastnetwork.com, the home of hockey podcasts, every team, everywhere. Now, in this video, we're going to be talking about the guy that everybody's talking about. That's Kiefer Sherwood. A new suitor has entered the mix in the Kiefer Sherwood trade sweepstakes, and it's a team that is pursuing a guy like Sherwood. They really want Kiefer Sherwood. That team in question, the New York Rangers. Chris Drury, the GM of the New York Rangers, wants Kiefer Sherwood so badly as he feels as though the Rangers could use a guy like him, especially when their offense is terrible and has been terrible all season. I believe their top goal scorer is Artemi Panarin with 16 goals, which is one less than what Sherwood currently has. We're going to go over an article that talks about the Rangers pursuing Sherwood, as well as what it might cost the Rangers to acquire Sherwood, and whether or not the Rangers are even bold enough to make such a move, considering where they are both in the standings and also because of a couple key injuries that have recently hit them and may have take them out of the running for Kiefer Sherwood. So let's go ahead and bring up the article and go over it. Oops. While the Vancouver Canucks continue to ponder whether to trade or extend winger Kiefer Sherwood, oh boy, another team has entered the mix in pursuit of the pending unrestricted free agent services, according to a report from The Athletic's Vincent Cogliano. The New York Rangers have identified Sherwood as a primary trade target. The New York Rangers have been looking to add a top 9 forward with Kiefer Sherwood a primary target. According to a source, injuries to Fox and Shesterkin could push them in more of a sell direction. They want to see how this month plays out first. They were in on star defenseman Quinn Hughes before he was traded to the Minnesota Wild last month. Cogliano wrote, as The Athletic previously reported, and have been pushing hard for Vancouver Canucks winger Kiefer Sherwood. A league source said the asking price is believed to be a first-round pick and possibly more for the 30-year-old who has netted 17 goals through 42 games and is in the final year of a modest contract that pays him $1.5 million annually. The acquisition cost is prohibitive for the Rangers, but team president Chris Drury's focus has been on netting a top 9 forward to bolster an offense that ranks among the lowest scoring in the NHL. Sherwood offers a potential solution to the Rangers' season-long offensive drought, currently sitting 27th in the NHL in goals scored with 116. The Rangers are in need of adding a goal-scoring winger of Sherwood's caliber to bolster their top 9 offense. Sherwood's 17 goals this season currently leads the Canucks, but would also lead the Rangers, narrowly edging out Artemi Panarin with 16 goals. So there you go. The report comes after the Canucks reportedly offered Sherwood a 4 or 5 year deal in the neighborhood of $4 million AAV. If the Canucks do decide to part ways with Sherwood, it is believed that any trade package would begin with a first-round pick, holding both their own and the Carolina Hurricanes' first-round pick, which was acquired in the K'Andre Miller trade earlier this summer. The Rangers could meet that asking price. In the tight race, the Rangers currently sit third last in the Eastern Conference, yet just 3 points out of the final wildcard spot. It is worth noting that the Rangers suffered 2 massive blows recently as defenseman Adam Fox and goaltender Igor Shesterkin were placed on long-term injured reserve and injured reserve, respectively, following a 3-2 loss to the Utah Mammoth on Monday. As the NHL schedule eclipses the halfway point, Sherwood's future will remain one of Vancouver's most closely watched storylines leading up to the trade deadline. Now let's take a look at a second article that talks about the same thing and actually kind of dives more into it and talks more about like what could the Rangers give up for Kiefer Sherwood. So let's go ahead and check that out. At the very least, the Vancouver Canucks are keeping their options open when it comes to veteran winger Kiefer Sherwood. Makes almost too much sense for the club to sell high on him, but they would seemingly, like you and every other NHL team, presumably trying to lowball them to know that they don't have to trade him and that they could sign him if they wanted to. So now that we got that out of the way, Yes, the Canucks in all likelihood are going to move on from Kiefer Sherwood at some point between now and the NHL trade deadline. They sent a memo to 31 other NHL teams in November stating that they were willing to listen to trade offers for their veteran players, and President of Hockey Ops Jim Rutherford quickly clarified that it was more about getting the trade deadline business out of the way sooner rather than later. In particular, that means moving out their pending UFAs, which is why Sherwood's name has basically been at the forefront of trade rumors ever since. The Canucks' asking price, as we've mentioned, is believed to be a first-round pick plus a young player. To this point, no team has matched that, and Sherwood remains a Canuck through the halfway point of the season. Sherwood is on pace for 33 goals and is just 2 away from breaking the career high in goals that he set last season, with 40 games left of runway to do. So, as a result, Sherwood is due for a big increase from the $1.5 million annual salary he's earned since the start of last season when he signed on with the Canucks for 2 years in free agency. With Sherwood set to turn 31 in March, it doesn't make much sense for the Canucks to be the ones to sign Sherwood's next contract, which could very easily start with a 5 or a 6 and run anywhere from 4 to 6 years in length. To the surprise of no one who has been paying attention, the acquisition cost of Sherwood is prohibitive for the Rangers, just like it has proven to be for every other suitor up to this point. At this stage, it feels like we're headed for Quinn Hughes territory, where the Canucks simply wait until someone meets their asking price. In the case of Hughes, it was the equivalent of 4 first-round picks, and then pull the trigger on the deal. In other words, it's all going to come down to just how badly a team wants to add Sherwood. With Hughes, that team was Bill Guerin's Minnesota Wild. For Sherwood, could that team possibly be the New York Rangers? Now, the question is, does Chris Drury have the same size balls that Bill Guerin has? Perhaps we'll find out. Why the Rangers want Kiefer Sherwood? The reason we mentioned it was pretty simple. On top of this now undeniable events of production, Sherwood's baseline game makes him a dream for NHL coaches and GMs alike. As Canuck fans know, Sherwood plays with the same desperation and passion that helped him forge an NHL career in his late 20s every single night. He won't hurt you defensively. He can kill penalties. Well, he won't hurt you defensively. But we kind of saw something in the game the other night, but I won't hold that against him. As I would call that maybe like a minor blip for him. He can kill penalties, and on the forecheck, that's where Sherwood first gained the attention of the Canucks when their defensemen were on the receiving end of Sherwood's crushing hits and pressure while retrieving the puck during the first round of the 2024 playoffs between Vancouver and Nashville. And yeah, that was a big reason why Quinn Hughes basically went to management, was like, get this guy on our team so I don't got to play him anymore. Rangers have struggled to score this season, and at the time of this writing are 3 points out of a playoff spot, with 6 teams separating them from the second and final wildcard spot in a jam-packed Eastern Conference. They would obviously like to give themselves an edge in that race, and they might want to do it sooner rather than later. Now, the reason the Rangers wouldn't want Sherwood, that we mentioned earlier, especially at a hefty acquisition cost, is also important to mention as well. Obviously, we talked about earlier in the video, New York just lost both Igor Shesterkin and defenseman Adam Fox to injuries this week. Fox is especially bad considering he only just got back off of IR and now he's already going back on it. Shesterkin was forced to leave Monday's game after being involved in a collision with Utah's JJ Peterka, and is expected to head to IR at some point this week. I believe he already has, with no clear timetable for a return provided. If he's out for an extended period of time, adding Sherwood to a team that has relied heavily on their all-star netminder might not only be a moot point, but downright reckless as well. As for Fox, he was just activated from LTIR and played just 3 games before landing right back on LTIR, which meaning he'll be sidelined for at least another month, which is a crushing blow for the New York Rangers. And it's also a bit of a crushing blow for my fantasy as well, because I have Adam Fox. Now I got to put him back on LTIR. Gosh darn it. Those are 2 key contributors for the Rangers, and it would be a bold move to add to a team on the outside looking in of the playoff picture that just lost those 2 players. But let's say, for our argument's sake, that Sherwood is their guy and they plan on signing him to an extension, meaning he wouldn't simply be a rental, which would make the move much more defensible. Now, what would the Rangers give up? Let's say the Rangers meet the Canucks' rumored asking price and cough up a first-round pick. along with a B-level prospect or young roster player. That first-round pick, of course, would very likely be the Carolina Hurricanes' first-round pick that they acquired in the Keandre Miller trade. However, the Hurricanes' first-round pick comes with a condition better of Carolina or Dallas 2026 first-round pick and is top 10 protected. But based on the current standings, the pick would almost certainly be a late first-round pick as Carolina sits 5th and Dallas is 2nd in the NHL standings. The Rangers would almost certainly prefer to acquire that pick in a trade rather than their own, which will likely be in the 12th to 20th range instead of the 22nd to 32nd range. As for the player involved, a quick look at dailyfaceoff.com rankings of the Rangers' prospect pool tells us their top 3 prospects are Gabe Perreault, Scott Morrill, and Malcolm Spence. Now, obviously, the Canucks would be ecstatic to get their hands on any of these 3 prospects, especially Perreault, who has 5 points through 11 NHL games and is currently skating on the Rangers' third line. But you're kidding yourself if you think the Rangers would ever give up a first-round pick plus one of their top 3 prospects. Instead, the Canucks really wanted to get one of these prospects. They'd almost certainly attempt to entice the Rangers into a 1-for-1 swap of Sherwood for one of them. And honestly, they might even need to sweeten the deal a bit to get their hands on a prospect like Perreault, for example. But if the Canucks stick with their ask of a first-round pick plus a player, we can assume that Perreault, Morrow, and Spence are off the table. Might the Canucks be interested in Brennan Othmann, who the Rangers selected 16th overall in 2021, but has yet to establish himself at the NHL level? Othmann just turned 23 this month and has spent most of his season with the AHL's Hartford Wolfpack, where he's amassed 12 points in 21 games. What about 19-year-old shutdown defenseman E.J. Emery, whom the Rangers took 30th overall in the 2024 draft? Emery was born and raised in Surrey, and his father Eric played pro football for the BC Lions, Calgary Stampeders, and Ottawa Roughriders from 1985 to 1987. Some other names in the Rangers' pipeline that might entice the Canucks are 20-year-old center Kerry Terrence and 22-year-old AHL ringer Brett Berard. Now, before we go any further and dissect this long article even more, I'm going to do my mid-show sponsor read and start that off by thanking my primary and main sponsor, none other than DraftKings Sportsbook. The jaw-dropping moments that make hockey, well, hockey. Experience them all with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NHL. Missouri listeners, listen up. DraftKings Sportsbook is now live in the Show Me State. New customers, this one's just for you. Bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code THPN, that's code THPN, to turn $5 into $200 in bonus bets if your bet wins. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY, which is 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly on behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas. Pass-through of per wager. Tax may apply in Illinois. 21 plus age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Restrictions apply. Bet must win to receive bonus bets, which will expire in 7 days. Minimum odds required. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio. This is a limited time offer. Copyright of the NHL 2025, all rights reserved. My secondary sponsor, maker of this fine artwork you see right in front of you, and as well as when you watch my videos, you can see behind my shoulder. Go ahead and check them out, GassyJackArt.com. All right. Now that we've read these 2 articles, both from the fine folks at Canucks Army, the dilemma about whether or not the Rangers would be bold enough to make a trade for Kiefer Sherwood. They know what the Canucks' asking price is, and they have a piece of that, as we've mentioned. Well, technically 2, but once again, I reiterate what I mentioned. I don't think they're going to want to part ways with their own first-round pick, as that is likely to be a higher pick than the Carolina one. And they already gave up their first-round pick to the Vancouver Canucks almost a year ago in the JT Miller trade. So I don't think they'd be willing to do that again. They'd, as was mentioned in the article, they'd likely part ways with the Carolina first round pick. Now, our good buddy Quads, friend of the podcast, brings up some intriguing names we talked about at the very end there, particularly prospects that the Rangers have in their system. Now, much like what Quads mentions, I doubt the Rangers would be willing to part with any of those prospects, along with the first round pick. But there is a name that I thought of that isn't mentioned in this article. Two, actually. The first name being Will Cooley. I know the Canucks have shown interest in him before, and correct me if I'm wrong, but he was somebody the Canucks wanted when the Rangers were trying to get in on Quinn Hughes. Like I believe I saw somewhere where the package included Will Cooley as well as Braden Schneider, who the Canucks have been after for years now, and actually were even trying to get when they did the JT Miller trade, but the Rangers weren't willing to cough up Braden Schneider. Instead, they threw in Victor Mancini instead, and that was able to get the deal done. But likely the Rangers would probably be unwilling to part with a guy like Will Cooley, and I don't blame them. But I want Will Cooley so bad. Like, I've been wanting him for so long, dating back to the summer. I was like, the Canucks should try and go out and get Will Cooley, and he could be your 2C. Obviously, now we have Marco Rossi, so I guess there's not really too much of a need for a guy like Will Cooley. But the second name, Alexis Lafreniere. He's not exactly lived up to his potential being a first overall pick for a change. He was picked first overall 6 years ago in the 2020 NHL entry draft. Perhaps it could be time for a change of scenery for Alexis Lafreniere. And I'm sure the Canucks would be interested in a former first overall pick. He fits their age range of what they're looking for, with him only being 24 years old. Freeing up the cap space for him might be a bit tricky, though, as Lafreniere is making $7.45 million AAV over the next 7 years, which he signed in October of 2024. He does have a modified no-trade clause, but according to Puckpedia, that doesn't kick in until the 2027-2028 season. So for the first 2 years of the contract, he doesn't have a no-trade clause or a no-move. What do you think, Canucks fans? Would you want a guy like Alexis Lafreniere and be willing to trade Sherwood for him? Could you see Lafreniere possibly playing on PD's wing? No, people keep saying PD needs a winger. PD needs a winger. PD needs a winger. Man, I sound like Woody the Woodpecker there. No pun intended on the Woody part, by the way. Did not intend to do that. But the question is, would the Rangers be, once again, bold enough to move him? Obviously, the Rangers, as I said, might be hesitant, as well as Rangers fans, as right now, Rangers, the team, and fans would be hesitant probably to move Lafreniere because Artemi Panarin is an impending UFA. And I know the Rangers are wanting to re-sign him and likely would see someone like Lafreniere as a potential replacement for him and wouldn't want to make a move on, with Lafreniere unless Panarin, re-signs with them and they get that deal done. But it's hard to replace a guy as good as Artemi Panarin. Like, let's be real here. It's freaking Artemi Panarin. So go ahead and let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video. And if you did enjoy this video, go ahead and hit that like button. And if you want to stay up to date on all your Vancouver Canucks content, be sure to smash that subscribe button and turn on your notifications so you don't miss a single video. Go ahead and check out the Line Change merchandise store. We have up our 1 year anniversary collection is now available on our merchandise store. So go ahead, check it out. Some great designs that I actually did myself, and I'm actually very pleased and happy with how they turned out. Go ahead, check it out, thelinechangepodcast.threadless.com. And if you want to be a part of the discussion, go ahead and join our Discord. There is a link in the description down below. It's completely free to join. So go ahead, join it, and we can have more discussions and conversations about like trade targets and stuff like that on our official Discord. You can also find and interact with us on social media. We're everywhere: Facebook, Instagram, X, TikTok, even Blue Sky. Go ahead and give us a follow on all of our social media platforms. And if you prefer an audio version of this podcast, you can find us on both Spotify and Apple Podcast. On Spotify, feel free to give us a follow, as well as give us a rate and review on either platform. Also, feel free, go ahead and download your favorite episode on either Spotify or Apple Podcast. It really helps out the podcast, and that way you'll have you can listen to your favorite episode as many times as you want. So go ahead and do that. Once again, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. As always, let's go Canucks. Let's keep tanking. And I'll catch you guys in the next video.